Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Glimmora, which just got released in Pokémon GO. You're only going to be able to get this Pokémon through routes as well as field research. As far as I know, I got my one from paying €2 for this Pokémon. Lovely, you can get yourself premium research for it. Absolutely not worth it, by the way. The premium research is a joke. You get like Diglets as an encounter the entire time, and you get one Glimmora for the glimmet, which you just saw in the beginning. Yeah, this is an interesting Pokemon. And honestly, I thought that this Pokemon is going to be absolutely horrible. Why? Because this Pokemon has no bulk. It's a glass cannon, but also it doesn't have a cheap charge move, and it has a fast move that is just mediocre in Smackdown. Turns out though, it actually wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad, and it had, I'm battling here by the way in like the 2900 range. Elo-wise, like that is also kind of funny. It was like close to like theoretically legend, which is not the case of course this season, but still I'm actually quite high up in the leaderboards if there would be someone. But basically, what we have here is a lot of times that here, for example, Glimmora is actually doing something, and with the typing itself, it actually wasn't that bad. And honestly, stay tuned for some more fun games with this Pokemon, because there are quite a few of them, which I really didn't think. I was like, okay, I'm happy if I get like 1 or 2 wins for the video, but I actually got like, I think 7 wins or something total, and like 12 battles. It was actually really fun. And here we're gonna see, of course, first battle, we got kind of hard-walled, but we're still gonna come back. We have actually a very good team though as well, which we can talk about right now as well. So, the team itself that we're going to have here is, of course, the Gurgai Say Swap, mainly Say Swap, not all the time Say Swap. We're going to take a look at when we don't use the Say Swap, for example here even. And then we're going to have in the back here our Ludicolo. Now, Ludicolo is going to be a Pokemon that is honestly such a good sweeper in the current meta and super underrated, but I was kind of looking for certain traits of the Pokemon that we have here. They have to resist ground type damage, as Glimmora's typing of poison and rock is very interesting, and it's the same typing as I think it's the only other Pokemon is like going to be the Nihilego. But this is basically a Great League Nihilego now. But basically, yeah, this is the only kind of Pokemon that really has that, but it's going to be double weak to ground type moves. And that's kind of a bit of an issue. Another issue for this Pokemon are Psychic-type Pokemon. So I needed to have 2 times Ghost-type coverage, which we have here in Gurgai's Shadow Ball, and the Astonish on the Ludicolo. Yeah, otherwise you're going to have the Water-type weakness. We have 2 Grass types in the back, and one of them double resist Water-type damage. So like that's kind of already covered for. And that's basically it. But also, then it goes kind of the other way around. Because what we have here, we have 2 grass types. Okay, one of them is not really weak to fire, but one of them is weak to fire. Our lead is going to be a good answer to fire type Pokemon like the Talonflame. And then we're going to have as well the flying type weakness of our backline, which our lead is basically the only Pokemon, like it's the only thing that they can really deal with. But anyway, we see here a Shadow Ball coming through from the Jellicent. It is not going to be enough, and we're already 2-0 with this team. Okay, we have a horrible lead here. This is one of those occasions where I don't go into Gurgeist. Why? Because Gurgeist is my better answer to Scizor, and because you don't really want to go into your better answer, and both of our Pokemon here can function as a Scizor, both Ludicolo as well as our Gurgeist can function as that. But I make a bit of a mistake here, because in hindsight I should have most shielded the move, as we gonna go up now against the Bastiodon, and honestly Bastiodon is absolutely everywhere. And I made a video recently about 10 Pokemon that you should build in 2026 because they're not gonna go anywhere. And I saw a lot of comments, by the way, I read all the comments down below as well. Like I do read all the comments, I even read comments on other social media platform towards my content. But basically I saw a lot of people complain about me giving too much spotlight for Bastiodon. But honestly, like this Pokemon is a top meta Pokemon currently. It has never had that much usage, I think, like we have it currently. And so diverse teams, like it had usage prior in very toxic teams. Now it's kind of part of more balanced teams. And honestly, I wish that actually this Pokemon does get nerfed. I do think that Smackdown, especially now where Smackdown isn't really necessary anymore on the Tyranitar, deserves a nerf again. So I'm all for that actually. Still, Bastion will never go anywhere. Bastion has never gone anywhere. It's never gonna be gone at all. But here, we're sadly gonna lose. The opponent still has 1 Pokemon and 2 shields left. But yeah, we're going to move on to the next opponent. Alright, fantastic lead. The opponent stops out. We have a ground type against us, and we win. Good game. What a battle. Here's one issue for the team, Pangoro. And I actually faced Pangoro quite often, and honestly, Pangoro deserves also the spotlight there. I made a video before the season even started saying that Pangoro is going to be one of the biggest meta winners of this season, and it's a Pokemon that you really want to try to use and have a team around. And I wasn't lying with that. It is kind of clear, like this Pokemon is absolutely fantastic right now. And honestly, I want to kind of make a video towards Pangoro as well. I might just make a team towards it, but again, I made already a video early on in the season basically saying that this is one of those Pokemon like a top team videos, like top 10 Pokemon video again, that got buffed without getting a buff basically. I will do the same for the next season as well again. So definitely, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I always kind of prepare everyone for the upcoming seasons as well. And the next season is going to be very interesting because it's going to be the first season again after this interlude season where we have Edo and all the stuff back again. So it's going to be quite interesting for people who want to climb. Anyway, the battle that we're currently on against is very tough because, as we see here, we're going to have the Celio against us. This Pokemon is just going to be a bit too strong for us right now. We do a lot of damage with Glimmora. Like, Glimmora, again, is a glass cannon. Like, this Pokemon cannot really deal with any damage on itself, but it does dish out a lot of damage, even if it's resistant. In this case, it would be super effective. But there was no way that we can go through both of the opponent's shields here, so like that is going to be a good game. And we can move on to the next opponent, which honestly was one of my favorite battles here. Okay, let's take a look at the battle. I will decide to go into Ludicolo here even against the Empoleon. Empoleon is one of the worst Pokemon to encounter with his team, especially in the lead. Empoleon hard walls our lead. It does kind of destroy our backline as well as it does some super effective damage against both of our Pokemon with the Drill Peck. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go for a bold move. I'm gonna go for the Leaf Storm. And a Leaf Storm is going to now be able to knock out at the Empoleon, boom, and in comes the Altaria. And that's fine. I go for the Weather Ball. I feel like Leaf Storm maybe would have done even a little bit more damage. At the end of the day, it does not matter because neither of them are doing a lot of damage anyway. But we're going to be able to go into our Glimmora now, which does resist every hit from the opponent's, charge moves at least from Altaria. And so we see the swap out into the Florges, and we can hard wall Florges with Gourgeist. This is one of the benefits of running Gourgeist. As long as they don't run Fairy-type charge move coverage, we're going to be able to hardwall them, and 99% of the current Florges are running Chilling Water plus Trailblaze because it gives you the better coverage, and a lot of times it's used as a Say-Swap, which I assume would have been the case here in this team as well if I didn't swap out. And this is kind of why this is so broken. Here we're going to see as well, we're going to be able to swap out into our Glimmora again. I am forced to use a shield here because I'm a bit worried about the opponent here still getting to another move against me later on. And so I'm going to be able to go still for the Power Gem. Getting the shield from the opponent is kind of nice because I have 2 charge moves out already on my other Pokemon here on my Gourgeist. But here's one big issue. Do I win Stampede against Florges? I actually don't think I do. And then again, do they have enough energy to get to a move here in the first place? Here we see the fast move coming through from the opponent. Can we get another Shadow Ball off against them? Yes, we can. And we kind of got walled, especially. Yeah, actually, we kind of got walled here just generally. I know why they didn't go into the Altaria earlier, by the way, against our Ludicolo, but we were able to come back from this one and win the battle. Honestly, I would have lost this battle most days straight away if they just went out of their Empoleon into the Altaria on my Say-Swap of Ludicolo. They could have been worried about the potential Ice Beam on Ludicolo, which, as a Say-Swap, Ice Beam makes a lot of sense on Ludicolo. It just makes a lot of sense because you have a lot of times Dragon-type Pokemon stopping in against you. But here we're going to have the Steelix coming in now. We're going to be able to go ahead and go for a charge move against them as well. This is going to be the Weather Ball, getting the shield. And I know I'm going to be able to align myself. And so I rather, with especially a ground type in the lead, again, ground types are the worst for us. We are going to be able to go for the full farm down here. In comes the Dusknoir. We can get some damage off actually as well because they're running Hex over Astonish, which, in my opinion, if you want to run Dusknoir, I guess as a non-shadow, Hex could have potential. Generally speaking, I feel like the main reason why you want to run Dusknoir is the Astonish damage plus Shadow Punch, which is quite unique to this Pokemon. So I feel like if you don't go for Astonish on this Pokemon, especially if you have the Shadow one, again, like for non-Shadow it's a bit different. I feel like then there's no point of running this Pokemon if you don't go for the correct moveset for it. Like it's the main reason why you want to run this, the Astonish Shadow Punch combination with then Dynamic Punch as a coverage move, which can cover everything that Ghost can't hit. But yeah, generally speaking, I feel like it's pointless to do it that way. But also, here I make a bit of a mistake. I expected them to swap out, but I expected them to go for a charge move first before swapping out. Now I was stuck in the Incinerate, and now we're in a really tough position. I would need to go for the Meteor Beam to win this battle, But I'm one fast move away and they're gonna get to their move. Power Jam would have not done enough damage. Meteor Beam definitely, I think, would have mostly done even resisted damage against them. Yeah, Digger Spear, I think, would have done enough. Okay, we're 10 minutes into the video already, but there's one question that maybe someone would have asked already. Why this moveset? Why are we not running Dazzling Gleam? Why are we not running Sludge Wave? Those two moves are also available on Glimmora. I was looking at it. I was looking at all the movesets for Glimmora before deciding on what I want to go for. And it turns out, it doesn't matter. Like, it really just doesn't matter what you go for. 99% of the time you just go for Power Gem anyway. Like, it really doesn't matter. Sludge Wave can be cool, but at the end of the day, you beat most of the Fairy type Pokemon anyway. And then the one thing why Meteor Beam is kind of interesting is just the raw damage and the potential to boost your own attack on a Pokemon that has already a very high attack stat. And that's why I opted to go for that one over the other ones. I thought about Dazzling Gleam, which would be kind of cool as well in certain scenarios. At the end, I don't think I didn't go for a single time for my secondary charge move. Power Gem is the only move that I went for. And I was not missing out on anything. Like, truthfully, like, I didn't miss out on anything. I didn't need a different kind of move at all. Dazzling Gleam would have not helped me, or the Sludge Wave would have also not helped me. So, like, it really didn't matter. It's not really an important decision. As long as this Pokemon only has Smackdown, which doesn't generate energy very fast, it's not going to be important. And this is the thing as well here. Glimmora, is it ever going to be good? No. I would not recommend you to build Glimmora at all. Like, I don't think Glimmora is a Pokemon that you should build for the Great League. I'm different because I want to have any Pokemon possible for the Great League. That's my goal. I want to have every Pokemon that's playable, that gets up to like close enough CP, playable for myself, for the Great League. I have over 1,000 Pokemon already built for PvP. There's going to be more to come as well towards it. But the thing is here, the only reason why you would maybe want to get yourself a Glimmora is actually the Mega Evolution. This Pokemon will Mega Evolve. That being said, it's still not going to be very strong as a Mega, so like it's not going to be that interesting. The thing is as well though, it does have a signature move in Mortal Spin as far as I know. Like, Mortal Spin could be interesting if it's going to be like something like a new fast move for it, or like a cheap charge move that could have like some secondary effect whenever they decide to maybe give it a community day or something like this. But so far, it's very unlikely that this Pokemon ever is going to have any play in the meta. And that being said, like, you very likely just don't need it, like, unless you want to have the Mega. But then again, for the Mega, you're very likely gonna have Mega Raids for it eventually, and then you're gonna be able to get this Pokemon evolved already from Mega Raids, which makes way more sense than grinding it in the current event where this Pokemon just is very difficult to get and it's just not very good. So yeah, last battle here. Honestly, I had a lot of fun with this Pokemon. Like, I definitely had a lot of fun with this Pokemon. I can't say anything else. Like, it's a fun Pokemon to run. It's a Pokemon that's mainly here for content though. Like, it's not for something that you would want to run in order to climb. And that's something that you have to be kind of aware of. And I'm still confused, by the way. I'm facing such weird Pokemon in the current meta here up there. And I'm now intrigued about Galarian Stunfisk. I think it's a bad Pokemon. Like, full stop, I think it's a really, really bad Pokemon. The main reason, by the way, why it's a bad Pokemon is Mudshot being nerfed. It just needs a different fast move and it would be fine. Like, literally, that's all I think that you really need to change on this Pokemon. Like, if it's Mud Slap or something, it would be way, way better. Would make way more sense there as well. But, yeah. I don't really know why we face Pokemon like this. But we're going to have Bastion against us as well. Hooray. I have to, of course, go into my Ludicolo. I'm going to let the first move go because I know that I have to take one anyway. Like, I have only one shield left. And they swap back out into the Venusaur. I can go for the Power Gem, which is kind of nice for me at least. That is forcing either the shield or the KO. I'm very likely going at the shield. And we're actually smacking them down quite nicely here with Glimmora. Glimmora does have, again, a lot of fast move pressure. A lot of pressure generally with the high attack stat of it. But, yeah, this is going to be interesting now because we're going to have to go for another charge move here where the ball is coming through. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to get the full farm on there either. Like, we have to kind of hope, you know, that I get to 3 weather balls against the Bastiodon. But, yeah, this is going to be just tough. Like, it's going to be tough. I think that the Leaf Storm might do a little bit more damage, so I'm going to go for that. Is it going to be enough to knock out the Bastiodon from half health? It is not, but it was close though. It definitely does a little bit more damage compared to the Weather Ball. That's going to be it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Actually, there's going to be another video later on anyway. Stay tuned for that. Follow for more, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.